Hi.
Hello, no, I'll do it. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Discord Audio Delay Podcast, which, god damn it, there really is nothing we can do about that after so many episodes of this show. Whatever. We're back with all four main hosts. That's Jackson, myself, Charlie, and Alex, who has returned for this guest episode, this incredible guest episode featuring our guest, Kaya Orson. Kaya, welcome to the show. I'm sorry we last minute had to get you on the show. That's why your mic sounds really weird, because you're recording from a hotel room, if I'm reading this correctly.
That's right. Yes. Yeah, love hotels.
He's on the run.
And love their shitty Wi-Fi.
You're at a love hotel?
Sure, we'll go with that. Jackson's calling in from the bed.
Yeah, I'm in Kaya's hotel room bed right now.
We're all in the same hotel room. I don't know why we don't just do this in person. Why are we doing it over Discord?
Yeah, why don't we just do it in the same room?
I'm in the fucking shower.
None of us can hold eye contact.
Yeah, I guess. We're all such awkward little gremlins.
It's awkward.
Do you guys have that issue? Do you struggle with eye contact?
Not really.
What? Why are you traveling though,
Okay.
Kaya?
Just personal reasons, visiting people.
Nice. That sounds fun. Are you having a good trip?
I'm having an okay trip, yeah. I saw our moderator, Mariah, and her boyfriend. We are having a good time. Good friends.
How nice.
That's so
Gonna see them again on my way back.
Do you enjoy traveling?
No, I fucking hate traveling. And the US is so big that like a car ride anywhere is a minimum of 10 hours. But you eventually get used to it. At least there's like a lot of exits and everything. But
Was there any reason for not flying? I get why Charlie doesn't, but why wouldn't you just fly to where you need to go? 10 hour. I would never do a 10-hour car trip. Fuck that.
Because the place that we wanted to go, it actually was just cheaper to drive. Plus there's just a level of freedom to driving. You can come and go as you please rather than having to make the flight schedule, which sometimes just gets cancelled or pushed anyway. So there is...
But you're still spending 10 hours in a car.
I like road trips. I'll take the opposite stance on that. I enjoy car trips with friends. I think they're fun.
What's the longest road trip you've taken, Andrew?
17 hours.
Okay, I was gonna say maybe you've done like
fuck.
10 hours, and that's bearable, but 17's fucking, that's a lot.
Now, to be
Those
fair,
suck.
it was 2 days. It was 2 days. The first was like 10, and then the second was 7. But that is the longest I've done like a full car trip, and it was fun. I liked the whole thing. It was good.
Dependent on the company, I guess.
We drove like 6 or 7 hours one day, then 4 or 5 hours the next, and then 6 hours again the next day, or like the day after tomorrow. It is, yeah, I mean, you get used to it after a while. Seeing all the Circle Ks, I guess, the gas stations, wonderful.
The luxurious Circle Ks across America.
I know. And like these dilapidated fucking areas. It's weird, but I don't miss flying. I don't know. I mean, the flights would have been just as, even more expensive, which is just a thing now. All the tickets are expensive. So we decided, fuck it, let's just drive.
Yeah, I guess plus also like the time you go through security, driving to the airport, parking, like getting through the airport itself probably works up to be like a few extra hours on top of the flight as well.
Yeah.
Probably
Well, yeah,
not
that too.
like 7 hours, but it's like an all-day thing.
With Florida, a lot of the time, I have to go to South Florida, and it's about a 4-hour drive from Tampa, give or take where you're going. It can be even longer. And I'll look at flights from like Central Florida to South Florida and say, wow, that's 30 minutes? I should just do that. But then you remember you have to go through airport security. You have to go through all the process of it. And it's like, it's roughly the same amount of time as if you just drove after all that shit.
Exactly. People never mention the ancillary stuff to like, oh, it's just a 2-hour flight. Yeah, and you also have to be 3 hours. You have to be there 3 hours before, 2 to 3 hours. You have to go through security, check in your bags, and then you have to wait for the plane. You have to get off the plane. Then you're waiting for your fucking luggage, which sometimes takes a whole hour in and of itself. Just standing there. Like you cannot purchase the luxury of just opening the rear seat doors and taking your luggage out. That is a very satisfying feeling of not having to wait on anyone.
There's a good sense of control when you drive. Yeah.
There is a bunch of, obviously control is best, but the thing that you don't have to like wait around a lot, you can just hop on, is like trains. Just hop
no,
on a train.
no.
God,
It's so easy.
That's a
This is
load
not
of
true.
fucking baloney. You have never rid on an Amtrak here, have you, Jackson?
Well, no, I have proper functioning infrastructure
Yep,
over here. I don't know what
exactly.
the fuck you have. So
We have fucking Amtrak.
Like trains only work in Europe and places like that because they basically invented rail travel, and so they have the infrastructure. And even then, like, ask the average German how they feel about their trains, and they're like, yeah, it's never on time. It's always just delayed. Like, I have many, many memories of me and my wife just being stranded at a station because trains just kept getting canceled. It was really, really bad for a while too. And then you have the union striking and everything, and it just sucks ass. I don't know how it would work in America.
I can only talk about Australia is very similar to America in terms of scale and size, first of all. So if it works here to some degree, then it could work in America. I don't know. I like trains. Trains are fine. Also in England, they were actually really decent to travel around to the different parts of England. So big train fan here, but I guess you have different experiences.
No, I love trains too. I'm just saying I don't think it would work in America specifically. Like whenever a European brings up
It does not.
why doesn't America have public transits? It's like, well, because there's like schizophrenic vagrants on it that just punch women for no fucking reason. It's a completely different, it's not just because Americans are like hateful of trains for random reasons.
Well, they were initially, right? Weren't they? Like, didn't the car lobbies like fight against trains or something, or public transport in that?
That's also part of it. It's both of that. It's both a cultural issue and an infrastructure issue. It's a lot of different factors that make America a car-based culture. Yeah.
I'm saying it could be possible in America, all right? I'm just saying that obviously it's going to be an enormous infrastructure investment and stuff like social corrections for what you said about the crackheads that just randomly punch you on the trains, which I guess is an actual issue in America. So yeah, I mean, there would have to be fixes to that. But I really do feel like trains are probably the best, public transport option.
They are when they work.
For sure, yeah. When you are in a place where they work and they are safe, it is a luxury. It is so cozy and nice. It is mellow. You just get to watch the countryside as the thing is just chugga-chugging.
Yeah, you just hop on.
I'll go ahead and drop
sit down, read.
the bombshell on the audience, I guess. The reason I wasn't in last week's episode is I was in Japan. And while I was there, the entire time I rode trains. Literally only got around via trains.
Yeah.
And
They have the mag rails.
Oh, they have everything. They have local trains, they have bullet trains, they have subways, they have trains in every conceivable fashion. And not once did I feel unsafe. Did they feel like rickety or old or bad, or did I feel like overly crowded? And it was shock. We were in fucking downtown Tokyo, which are like some of the most crowded trains on the planet. But the way that they handle it, it works. It was pleasant,
no
and
overcrowding,
amazing,
really.
and incredible. What'd you say, Jackson?
Yep.
I said no overcrowding, really.
So, yes, but it's kind of a cultural thing, kind of a way it runs thing. If you miss a train in Tokyo, wait 15 seconds. There's another one right behind it going the same place.
Right, yeah.
They just never stop. So people, they do try to get on the train, and they are crowded, but it's never to the point where it's like, oh my God, I'm going to fucking die of suffocation. I can't. It never got to that point when we took them the entire time.
That was the exact same experience I had in London with the tube, which was actually like pretty efficient. Like there was always just a train, a train after it, like 2 minutes later, that you could just hop on. That would be, incredibly less, populated or whatever, crowded. So you just wait for that.
Bullet trains that they have there are also a goddamn engineering marvel. I wish we had in every country on the planet. We went from Tokyo to Osaka, and if you took the highways, if you drove, it's like a nearly 7-hour drive. The bullet trains got there in 3, and you don't even do anything. You just walk on, sit in your seat, and you're done. That's it, and it just goes. It's like getting on a plane, but there's no security. There's no baggage bullshit. There's nothing. You just get on the train and you're off. It was fucking amazing.
Isn't that so nice? Oh my God.
Amazing. It was the best way I've traveled in my life.
Just imagine that in America. Imagine there's a place with no fucking security. That place, like, oh my God. Like, if we had that here, there would be piles of corpses every time that leaves the fucking station.
Oh yeah. The biggest hassle and harassment I had in the entire trip was the 20 minutes I spent in O'Hare Airport when I got back to America. So a good example of how the culture is just different and how they handle public transportation. If you go to the airports of Japan, this is when we were leaving, you go and it's a gigantic warehouse. It's massive. So if you go to an airport in America, it's all these like long strips of desks, like here's United, here's American Airlines, here's blah, blah, blah. And there are lines and lines and lines of people just waiting to check bags or use kiosks or what the fuck ever. In Japan airports, it's a giant automated warehouse. And you pick your little terminal, there's hundreds and hundreds of them, and you automatically check your bags. And you do everything automatically. And then when you're done checking out there, you go through security and it's like also automated, and it was absolutely nothing. And while we were doing this process, twice, 2 different people came up and said, "Are you okay? Do you need any help? Do you have this covered?" And we were like, "No, we got it." But they were polite and friendly and just everything was great.
Friendly, yeah.
Then we land in Chicago and we go to customs because you have to go to customs, go back in the country. And immediately when we get off, there's 3 people yelling, "Get in this line if you're a U.S. citizen.
Yes.
Get in that line if you have a green card." And it's like nonstop being herded like animals and yelled at. It was fucking awful. It was amazingly shitty.
I hated going through customs and immigration over in America both times.
We looked for the fucking shuttle around the airport because we had to go to a different terminal. And in Japan, there's signs everywhere because they know how to make trains work. They know how to do good trains. And it's like, this train is going here, here, and here. This one is the rapid one that doesn't stop here, blah, blah, blah. We get to the fucking Chicago airport, and there's a guy standing in front of the trains, and his only job is to go, "This stops at Terminal 1, 2, and 3. No, don't go on that. No, your ticket's not for that one." And it's just nonstop people yelling at you. It's ridiculous. It's so stupid. Oh, America needs to figure this shit out, man.
It's not going to happen. There's already just...
No, it's really
too
not.
late.
No, it's definitely
it's
not.
too late.
It's definitely not.
Yeah, just restart.
Yeah.
Yep. It's such a fucking shame because there's no reason it couldn't work in America besides just money. Like, it's really frustrating. It's so frustrating. Yeah. But what was the best part of your trip?
Oh, man. There's so much to talk about. I know what the funniest part of the trip was, if you want to hear that story. So we went to Osaka, which is like a rougher Tokyo. So Tokyo is what people think of when they think of like modern Japan. There's screens everywhere. There's like all sorts of gadgets and advertisements and shit. There's like stores for gimmicks everywhere. It's like when you see movies or TV shows or whatever, like, wow, Japan, Tokyo. But Osaka's more traditional. It's like rougher, kind of more just a regular big city. It feels like more generic, more just kind of, yeah, it's Japan, woo, neat. So what you get there is a lot of like street food vendors, a lot of like local shops, a lot of small establishments that are just like mom and pop businesses, etc. So my girlfriend wanted takoyaki, which is fried octopus balls, and Osaka's famous for them. So we're like, okay, this is the place to get it. So we go to this booth, and it is big enough to seat 3 tables, not even, like 2.5. It's a guy at a grill. There's a table to his left. There's a makeshift table in front of the grill. And then behind him is like this super tiny bench. So it's this really small, just local establishment run by one dude. It was so small that to use the bathroom, you had to climb a ladder behind his grill to go upstairs to use a toilet. So the point is, we cram into this booth, and it's just like, it's not like a giant bustling business. There is maybe like 6 of us and this one guy working a grill, and that's the whole restaurant. So really small, really personal atmosphere. And in the table in front of us are 3 tourists from another place. I think they were Swedish or maybe like somewhere in Central Europe. So they weren't speaking English, but they were like blonde, pale, white skin, obviously tourists. And one of them, the woman that was sitting there, was conventionally attractive. You know, long blonde hair, looked pretty lady. And this homeless guy is shuffling through the streets of Osaka, and they're pretty busy. There's a lot of people walking by, but he's like ambling through, like he looks like he just got out of the prison from Old Boy. Like he's very, very dirty, haggard look, just staring in the distance. And he stops in front of the booth, and he looks at the blonde woman and starts just muttering in Japanese, going... And so this tourist, in decent English, goes, I can't understand you. I don't understand you. And then the homeless guy starts going, I love you, 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 over and over and over again. So that prompts the guy at the grill to run in front of his booth and start screaming in the homeless guy's face, "Irashimasen! Irashimasen!" which is the Japanese word for like, welcome, can I help you? Can I help you? So this homeless guy is just saying over and over, I love you, I love you, I love you, to this random tourist lady. And the guy working the grill just starts going, can I help you? Can I help you? In Japanese in his face over and over again. And so
like sarcastic, or was it an actual offer for help?
He was trying to chase him off. He was like, get the fuck out of here, by screaming, can I help you, over and over and over again. But it was basically like, hey, can I help you? You know, what do you want? Like, get away from my booth, you know? Do you need something?
Right.
So the homeless guy eventually goes, oh, okay. And he starts shuffling off. And so we're all kind of looking at each other like, that was weird. And then immediately 2 minutes later, he starts shuffling back toward the booth. And the guy runs out from behind the grill again and starts screaming, Irashimasen! Irashimasen! Right in his face until he leaves again. And this happened like 3 times until eventually he gave up. Oh, man.
He was dedicated.
He really wanted to marry that woman. He could not get over his obsession of her. Oh my God.
Meanwhile, she was just waiting for one more time. She was playing hard to get. If he asks one more time, I'm gonna say yes.
The first 2 times, no. But
that damn
takoyaki
chef ruined it for her.
Oh yeah, he cock-blocked him. I don't know why he would do that. It was fucked up. Oh man.
Yeah, bad service.
Oh man, but there's just so much to fucking talk about Japan. I'm too large.
How long were you there for?
I was there for about 11 or 12 days, depending on.
That's the perfect.
That's so
that's
little. I feel
amount.
like no, I feel like that's so little.
You're so fucking wrong. Matt was in Italy for like 20 days. Like that is just too much for a vacation. I couldn't
for
imagine.
Him or for you? Wait, did you
well,
just
in general,
Matt or?
Yes, I miss Matt. But like that's just too long to me. Like I don't know. I feel like you get pretty much everything that you want within the first week and a half.
I'm kind of with Charlie mostly. It was mixed at the end of the trip. I did miss a lot of stuff about home, but I also was still enjoying it. I could go either way. I think 2 weeks is probably the perfect sweet spot. Like 14 days around there is just like the perfect amount, especially when it's a country where it's just totally foreign, where you don't speak the language and things are very, very different there.
I think the most important part is you want to leave still enjoying it. You don't want to have it overstay its welcome, and I really think that starts to set in after like 7, 8, maybe 9 days.
Right.
Somewhere in that like general ballpark, the week and a half is perfect. The last big trip I took was 17 days, I think, out to Texas. By day 13, I was counting the fucking seconds to get back. I couldn't stand it any longer.
Oh, no.
Was that because you wanted to get back to your computer, though, for video games?
No, I was just so tired of being there. Like, I had my computer and shit there. I could do all the things there that I was doing here. It's just I was so tired of being there, like away.
Somewhere else.
I just feel like that'd be like that everywhere.
There's creature comforts wherever you go. The very first thing I did when I got back to America was I went to Culver's, got a big fucking cheeseburger, because you just don't get those in Japan. They just do not have them. True. And it was something I missed, you know, like a big sloppy American meal. It just was not a thing over there.
Such an American thing. Such an American thing. I missed my fast food.
Yeah, for real.
But it was a craving. It was a craving I had while I was there. You know, sometimes you're just like, oh, I really fucking want a burger so bad. And Japan burgers, they're just not a thing. Not nearly in the same way they are in America. So it was just something I really wanted.
Well, don't they do like
home.
weird things like like egg burgers and shit like that? They do burgers, but it's
hamburger
like always
steak.
an interesting spin.
Hamburger steak is like one of the biggest things there, and it sucks ass, and I don't know why they love it. They just take the hamburger part of a hamburger, get rid of all the toppings, the bun, all the good stuff, all the sauce, and just put it on a plate with rice and maybe a little like mayonnaise, and it sucks.
You mean just the patty?
Yeah, just the
It's just
patty.
a patty.
They call it hamburger steak, and they serve it pretty regularly, and it sucks. And I don't know why they love it. It's everywhere.
That's stupid, unless it's like a Krabby Patty.
Yeah.
Did you buy any used panties? See any vending machines?
So vending machines there are a fun conundrum. There are vending machines everywhere. Fucking everywhere. You can't take 5 steps without a vending machine. But there are no public trash cans. So they fuck you over. You buy a delicious drink, and then you're just stuck holding the trash forever, and you have to find somewhere to throw it out. It's fucking annoying.
There's no public trash, like
None at
trash
all.
cans in
None
Japan?
whatsoever.
What the
So in the 90s, I don't remember when it happened, but they had a terrorist attack, and they put bombs in public trash cans.
Oh, I remember that. They got rid of trash cans because of that?
They're pretty much all gone. You can find them. They're just very, very, very rare, and typically, like, they're typically next to the vending machines if you do find them. So it's like, okay, I have to stand here next to the vending machine to throw out what I just bought. You know,
yeah,
which-
wait, that's so interesting. Yeah, in 1995, after the sarin gas attacks, they completely removed trash cans from Japan.
Yep. So what you typically
That's
do,
crazy.
a little tip from the locals, is you find a konbini, which is convenience store, and you go in and you're like, oh, I'm gonna buy something. Ooh, look, fried chicken, and then you just throw your trash out there and leave, and that's what everyone does in Japan. It's fine. They totally get it.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Was there a lot of like rubbish on the streets then?
No, it is the cleanest country I've ever seen in my life.
That's
so
this whole process is like mind-boggling to me. They have one attack that had trash cans as like a receptacle, and they immediately got rid of trash cans.
Yeah, they did. To answer your question, Jackson, Japan is beautiful in every sense. So not only is it just, wow, hyper technology and old style architecture collide and all this stuff, but the streets are immaculately clean. There's almost no trash anywhere. And alongside that, to the people in Japan dress amazingly. They just have sense of fashion everywhere. They wear suits everywhere. Women wear nice dresses. They like have outfits that they stylize, and like everyone's just wearing something nice in Japan. I felt underdressed as fuck. I wore a red hoodie while I was there because it was like a big tall man hoodie, and it was just, oh, cool, red. No one wears red because it's not a fashionable color. They wear like gray, black, blues, pastel, like muted colors, like really, really classic fashionable stuff. I never saw anyone wearing red or pink or any bright, elaborate shit unless they were intentionally doing it, like Lolita people or people from the alternate fashion districts or any of that shit. But otherwise, on the train, everyone looks like they're about to go to a high-profile business meeting. It's crazy. Everybody.
Lolita people?
So that is a style of fashion where you dress as cute girls, and it's girls that wear it. It's not like weird, disgusting Japanese perverts roaming the streets, Kaya. I know that's what you're thinking. But no, it's a popular thing where you wear like like cutesy dresses and bows in your hair and tie-dye and neon colors and all that shit. And there's a whole district in Japan that's based around that entirely called Harajuku. And the whole point is you go there and dress as like garishly and over the top as possible. That's where a lot of like alternate hangout scenes are. Like the heavy metal scene from Japan is there. That's where like a lot of metal shows and bars are. That's where a lot of like gamer culture goes, where a lot of people go there just to like escape the conformity of the rest of Tokyo.
Why would the heavy metal scene be in the baby girl area?
It's for all alternative
metal.
It's all alternative stuff. Like ravers
true
go
baby
there. It's not just that. It's people who don't dress to like normal conformity
so wait,
standards.
did you go there? If this is kind of like the counterculture area, did you go there?
We didn't have time, but I saw people who got off on the train and they were
That's so
dressed
unlucky.
ready for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be interested in knowing if that place was dirtier than the rest of the country. Like there was rubbish on the streets and stuff, just to see if the counterculture people.
From what I heard, it's really, really packed there. Like people just get fucking butts to nuts in terms of there. I saw a lot of people who were on the train and got off to go there, so they were dressed like that. The closest I got to go is Akihabara, which is the anime fucking central.
Yeah, it's
of
like the
Japan.
tech district. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like stores that are literally 20 stories high, and all they sell is anime merchandise on every single floor.
Did you get
and
anything
shit like that? Not as much as I thought I would, because truthfully, a lot of it's just like kinchy little whatever. Like, oh wow, a notepad featuring the characters of My Hero Academia. Woo! Like it's
God,
just
that's
not
lame.
exciting.
Not,
Yeah, it's not exciting.
You'd be able to get it
stuff.
on like Amazon or Wish, right?
Exactly.
It's like stuff that you'd be able to find.
It is a lot of stuff where you just get it on the internet these days. If you collect figures, that is the best place on the planet. There are thousands and thousands of booths that are like, here's this rare 1998 figure of Spider-Man from the Japanese TV show, and here's like this Kamen Rider limited edition posable 12-inch figure. Like those are fucking everywhere. One thing we did buy.
I was gonna say, I also think that that district is like well known for like retro games and stuff, right?
It is. There's a lot of retro game stores, and you just walk in, and it's like they have plastic display cases, and like here's an N64, here's the price. Do you want it? But again, this is stuff like it's not as impressive.
Yeah, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, it didn't have a wow factor to me. It was cool, it was fun, but I wasn't, while I was there, like, whoa, look, I gotta get this and that. It was more kind of like, one thing that we did buy, we went to this underground merchant who, the way that things are laid out in Tokyo is just kind of weird. It's literally under a building, and I had to like tilt my head to not hit my head on the ceiling of this like underpass shopping district. But we went to this guy who was a figure reseller. He like bought figures from people and resold them at discounts. And we bought this little figure of Snorlax and Pikachu. And my girlfriend thought it was cute. And I was like, oh, it's them sleeping. And we'll put it in the bedroom. And it's like, oh, they're sleeping. Oh, that's cute. And we went up to the guy and we were like, oh, how much? And he gives us the price. And the whole time he's selling it to us, he goes, new box, brand new box, great condition box. Look at the box. And he pulls out the figure and he pulls out the box. And before he puts the figure in it, he hands me the box to inspect. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's the box. Cool. And what I found out later is it's because collectors really, really, really give a shit about a high-quality box, like the original box or high-quality packaging.
That? Isn't that just common everywhere? I thought that was common with collectors everywhere.
I knew that to a degree, but this guy, the whole sale was like, it's a great box. New box. Look at the box. Really good. Like, he said it like 9 times. And I was just buying it because I wanted the figure.
Was it a nice box?
It was a pretty damn good box, I can't lie.
Do you still have it?
That was his most treasured box.
It was his most
Andrew
beloved
threw it out right in front of him. He just rips out the toy and throws out the box as he leaves the store.
Rips it open like a child on Christmas.
Yeah. I've been holding that box for 10 years.
But yeah, Akihabara is cool. It's I don't think it would be worth a like trip. I think we did it right. Yeah. We did it right where it was part of our trip. But I know a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to go. It's all anime and video games and whatever. But it's just kind of, it's neat. It's cool. It's not worth a whole excursion, you know?
Was it overwhelmingly like American tourists?
Not American, actually. They were rare. Chinese tourists were absolutely everywhere. Tons and tons and tons. And you could tell they were Chinese because you would overhear Mandarin everywhere you went. So apparently Japan right now is the biggest tourist destination in the world because the yen is extremely weak. So
yeah, it is.
Every other economy is super, super good. So we basically had everything 40% off while we were there. It was amazing. It worked out great.
Yeah, if you brought like $1,000, that shit's like I think it's like 4 or 5K there or something.
So if you brought $1,000, it would be about, I think, 1,500, which is still an incredible deal.
Wait, what? I was reading something the other day about like how hard the yen just fell.
Well, I was there, so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh no! I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm surprised.
Gaslighting him.
I've seen rumblings about this too, though.
No,
Passport bros are now talking about Japan as a new destination because the yen is falling so rapidly.
Yeah.
So they're thinking, I can get Japanese women now.
The yen is about like 60% of its normal strength, which means that the dollar is 30, depending on the day it changes, but it's like 33 to 50% off of all your purchases if you're exchanging dollar for yen. So we got everything cheap. I didn't even really know that until after I booked the trip and checked the price and went, oh, fuck, I just wanted to go. So it worked out great. But what it has done is everywhere is flooded with tourists, even places that are normally flooded with tourists. So while we were there, we always were with a local. I've got a friend who lives in Tokyo and another who lives in Osaka. So I hung out with either one of them depending on where we were. And both of them commented. Both of them commented when we went to like shrines or like famous downtowns. They were like, wow, there are a lot of tourists here, like compared to normal. And the other thing that's going on is China right now is having a boom in the middle class. I don't know the details on that one, but China's middle class is exploding, and it's creating a whole bunch of people there who are vacationing for the first time in their lives. So they're going to Japan because it's cheap as fuck, and it's right there. It's super close. So when you go to Japan right now, places are flooded with Chinese tourists. You overhear Mandarin everywhere, and you see them taking photos, and they are just everywhere. Alongside that, American tourists were actually very rare. We really didn't hear that many. The most common after that were Australians and French people.
Yeah.
And I think that is because of the distance. Like going Australia to Japan is way
Very
simpler.
close, yeah.
Yeah. And then as for French, I don't know.
It's basically like, other than Bali, it's like our closest holiday destination, really.
Right.
Most Australians go to Bali, which I hate Bali. It sucks, but Japan would be good.
I don't know why French was so popular there, but there were tons of French tourists everywhere. And again, you just overhear people speaking. Like you hear French as you're walking around, you hear Australian accents, you hear all this stuff. And I just heard French like everywhere we went. But beyond that, there was some Russians. There were Swedish people. Like everyone from every country you could think of was there. You would just overhear them talking while walking around. It was nuts. It was full of different tourists.
So overall, you'd say it lived up to your hype?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Tokyo is the greatest city I've ever seen in my life. It is crowded to shit. It is jam-packed with people and winding roads and single walkway paths and like it is hard to navigate and crowded and all this shit and confusing, but it works. It has everything you could ever imagine. Everything is within walking distance. There is nonstop things to do. And it's disgustingly efficient. Japan is a disgustingly efficient country. So you have about 125 million people living in a landmass smaller than California. And what I noticed while I was there, when we traveled by train everywhere, we went from the north to the south end of the country, every piece of land is used in every capacity. When you're in America, like Kaya can attest to this on his road trip, you will drive by nothing every now and then. You will look out and just see an empty field or an empty forest or an empty this or an empty that. Not so in Japan. Everywhere is either a public park or a designated landmass, or has a building on it, or a car park, or office buildings. If you're on the highway, which we Ubered like only once or twice for specific things, it is non-stop buildings everywhere you go. The trains run alongside buildings at all times. They go through buildings. They do this, they do that. And it's incredibly clever how they lay things out. We went to multiple buildings in Tokyo, like shopping centers. And this is where the Nintendo store is. The Nintendo store is fucking massive and it takes up its own floor on a giant shopping center. But when you go there, you enter this big mall and you're on the ground floor and there's escalators up and escalators down. And if you go down, it's the basement and it's all food. The entire basement of the building is a food court. And there are all these own little shops in these parts of the basement and this and that. And you walk around and it's fucking awesome. Then you go upstairs and it's like regular shopping. Like, oh, here's a Uniqlo. Here's a clothing store. Here's a fucking 7-Eleven. Here's a this, that. Then you go up the next 3 floors and it's clothes. Here's like a high fashion brand. Here's streetwear. Here's like seasonal shit, blah, blah, blah. And then the next floor is Nintendo and like entertainment stuff. So there was the Nintendo shop, and then right across from it is the Capcom store. And then across from that is the Shonen Jump store. And then you go upstairs again, and it's like a fancy restaurant and a movie theater. And every building in Tokyo is laid out like that, where each floor, both down and up, is a themed thing. So you know, like, oh, I want food. Oh, I go to this floor. And then there's all these options. Oh, I want this. You go to this floor. And there's all these options. It's
Is that
genius.
not just how shopping centers work? That's how they work over here. Is it like different?
So the difference in America is it's sprawled out. So you go, oh, I want food. I have to walk half a mile to the food court. Instead of at all times, you're just
walk.
Drive to the other end of the mall to get to the food court.
Thank you.
The big difference between Tokyo and like American cities is sprawl. American cities, everything is laid out. Like you still have to walk a good bit to get places. Where with Tokyo, the combination of trains and the way things are built vertically means you walk maybe a maximum of 3 minutes to get anything. It's just super, super well planned out and efficient. You can get anything right there.
If you could change one thing about it, what would you change?
Ooh, make things taller, because I was too tall for a lot of things. I went to Fuji-Q Highland, which is like their version of Six Flags. It's a roller coaster theme park. And I had to squat down to use the urinals because they were literally just too short.
Fuck, this sounds like paradise.
We went to Universal Studios Japan, and I did that to go to Mario World, which is fucking awesome. Mario World, I can't wait till they build it in Florida, because if it's the same as Japan,
it's gonna be nice.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's the most immersive theme park I've ever been to in my life. But we went to the rest of the park because we had time to kill. Did Mario Land, had some hours to kill. We're like, fuck it, let's see what the rest of Japan Universal is. By the way, for Charlie specifically, because you live in Florida, but for the rest of you, you're missing nothing. Outside of Mario Land, Universal Studios Japan is like exactly the fucking same. Like one-to-one same layout and everything. Yeah.
I really had the assumption that they've probably got it so commercialized that it doesn't have like individuality to it or anything specific.
There's slight differences here
Disneyland. It's Disneyland Sea, right? I'm pretty sure that's like the best Disneyland in the world, and that's because it's like so different to every other Disneyland.
Now, we did not go to Disneyland, but we saw a lot of families going to it, so it was very fucking popular. You'd see families on the subway wearing Mickey hats and shit. So I'd assume it's really popular. But aside from specific rides and shows and decorations, like the layout of the streets of Universal Japan is exactly the same. You walk down Main Street, you see like this and that. Like when you're staring at a Race Through New York with Jimmy Fallon, yeah. Like that ride's not there, but the building that it's in. I really wanted Jimmy Fallon dubbed in Japanese. But like that building is there. That building is there exactly the same, but that ride's not in it. There's something else in it. So the layout's exactly the same. It's just there's some differences.
What's in it? I'm gonna look it up actually.
Yeah, I actually don't know. We didn't do in it.
How could you not do the Race Through New York, Andrew? That's like a fucking tradition.
It's not there at Universal Japan.
Yeah, but they have something equivalent. They have it. The Mario Kart's Koopa Challenge is what came up when I did Race Through Tokyo.
No, we did that. That's in Mario World, and that ride's cool. That's a cool ride. But we went to Jurassic Park. It's pretty much the same place, except they have a ride that we don't. We have Velocicoaster, which is the Raptor coaster. It has the lamest name in the world. It's called the Flying Dinosaur. That's the name of the ride. Cool. And it is a pterodactyl roller coaster. And we get in line.
Oh my fucking god.
We get
Pterodactyls aren't dinosaurs. I've been on this boat, this crusade forever.
What?
We've
had this argument before.
It's not about dinosaurs, Jackson. You'll be okay. But we get in line.
No, I'm just talking to Kai then.
Oh, yeah. We get in line, and the Japanese guy is like, he says it in Japanese and then in English. He's like, please move to the side. Like, English is everywhere in Japan. They speak phrases all the time. Signs are written in English. It's really easy to get around. So you go around the park, and constantly when you're in line for things, they're always saying, they say it in Japanese and then English, please move to the side, please stay to one side, blah, blah, blah. And then he stops at me. And in decent English, he says, have you ridden this before? And I go, nope, my first time. And he goes, come with me, please. And he leads me over to
break your kneecaps.
He leads me over to the testing area where they have a preview of the seat on the ride. And he says, you might be too tall. Please test. And so I had to get in the ride and show him that the safety restraint would click on me and actually work. And as soon as it clicks, he goes, okay, thank you. And he lets me out and lets me back in line. There were tons of times where shit was just too short for me, where people were concerned that I would hit my head. Like I was told all the time, watch your head, watch your head. Japan is very much built for the shorter person in mind. And that was something everywhere I had to deal with. The very first thing I did when I got there, we stopped at a sushi restaurant, and I had to like duck under the door to the bathroom just to get in. It's nuts.
Yeah, I think you sent me a photo of that.
Yeah,
made me laugh.
But that happened everywhere.
You look so enormous.
Yeah.
Yeah, the frames look so small.
Yeah, I smashed my head on a lamp in another bathroom because it's just so small. And there is one part of Tokyo Station where we were walking for a train. I literally had to walk at like a 45-degree angle because I could not stand upright or I would have hit my head on the ceiling of the subway. Like, Japan is built for a man 5'7".
I bet that was super cool for you though, like a kaiju.
Oh, I felt amazing.
Yeah.
And foreigners. So my friends that live there both speak fluent Japanese, and they would overhear conversations. The Japanese people there, whether or not they admit it, they make fun of foreigners all the time. And because they assume that they don't speak Japanese. So my friends would be listening to conversations, and constantly they'd lean over to me and say, oh, those middle school kids over there, they're making fun of how tall you are. Oh, those girls over there, they're laughing at how tall you are. And I'm like, yep, sounds about right. It happened all the fucking
Every time you run out of the restaurant crying just to make them feel bad.
It happened all the fucking time. But yeah, they make fun of foreigners regardless. We went to Nara Park, which is a famous place where deer have been domesticated. It is the cutest goddamn thing in the world. They bow when they walk up to you and you feed them crackers, and you can just hand feed deer fucking crackers, and it's the best. And my girlfriend went up to do one with a deer, and the deer bowed, and she was like laughing and smiling and handed it to her. And these girls that were watching just started talking amongst themselves, and my friend who spoke Japanese leaned over and said, they think your girlfriend's really cute. And like all the time, shit like that would happen where they're just talking about tourists in Japanese because they just assume you don't know.
Aw,
Andrew.
at least they were nice.
This is big. Did you go to just normal Universal Studios Japan as well?
So most of our time was in Mario Land, and then a little bit of like Jurassic Park and some of the regular Universal Studios.
Brother, they still have the Back to the Future ride there.
They do? What the fuck?
It's still there. I'm looking at their park map right there, and you know what else they have?
Well, I know they have Jaws.
They do still have Jaws and E.T. It's like a time capsule.
Oh, baby.
Wait, they took away E.T. from Universal America?
Yeah, it looks like it's the same E.T.
Wait, when did they take away E.T.?
No, it's still there in Universal America. Sorry, I might have misheard what you said.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
okay.
I ride that every
fuck.
time, so I just love when you get to the end of the ride and E.T. says, "Thank you for saving me, Charles."
That ride was cute. I like that ride.
That
God,
ride
it's
is something
adorable,
else. Yeah.
They also
Yeah.
like pump pee smell into like the
They
line,
do.
so like as you're walking through the line, it just smells like urine the entire time.
There are entire discussions online about how that ride smells terrible. Oh man, I've done a deep dive on that. That ride smells like absolute shit, but everyone loves it.
God, you should have went to
People just
normal.
piss themselves.
No, they literally pump in some kind of aroma that smells like actual urine.
Yeah, E.T. looks like he smells like piss, so it's probably realistic. Real quick, a word from our sponsors of this episode.
Yes, sponsor.
Do you want to save money? Here's a tip. check out Mint Mobile. It's super likely that you're going to save a bunch of money on your phone and data plan if you swap over because their price point is simply unbeatable. Mint Mobile has premium wireless plans starting at just $15 a month. All their plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network, so you really don't lose out on anything by making the switch. It gives you everything you need for just $15 a month. You are absolutely going to save money immediately by swapping to them if you're with a legacy carrier. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, and you can bring your own phone number along with all your contacts and everything, so the swap is as seamless as possible. Again, you don't lose anything. You're saving money. That's what you're doing. You're gaining money. You're losing nothing. You're gaining everything, in my opinion. It really is just a far more affordable solution and an immediate downsizing of your monthly expenses, which why wouldn't you take advantage of that? So check them out and save money now because you're probably wasting so much money on your phone expenses that you simply just don't need to when Mint Mobile exists. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/official. That's mintmobile.com/official. Again, cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/official. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Thank you very much to Mint Mobile for being a long-term sponsor of the official podcast. And thank you to everyone who has jumped on board with Mint in the past and saved money using our sponsorship code. It really does mean so much just to have that level of support. Supporting the sponsors really does just help the show immensely and really means a lot to all of us. So thank you for taking a chance on our sponsors. Really do appreciate it. And thank you again to Mint for sponsoring the show. And thank you for listening to this episode and this ad slot. All right, now let's jump back on in and hear more about Andrew's wacky Japan journey.
I really wish you had gone to this and told me what the ET
I know.
ride was like.
We were on a time crunch and Mario World was my priority, so we only had so much time. But fuck, if I had time while we were there, I absolutely would have gone there. God damn it.
I can't believe they still have the Back to the Future ride.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You need the full 40 days to experience everything.
I learned a lot from this trip. I learned a lot better scheduling. I'll give you guys a pro tip if you go. Going to Mount Fuji from Tokyo is very, very easy. It's a straight shot. It's like, I think, 2 trains. Going from Mount Fuji to Osaka like we did is a fucking nightmare. Don't ever do it. It's like 5 trains and 2 of them are local, so they're not even like nice and modern, and it was just a hassle. It was the worst.
So you should have gone back to Tokyo from Fuji and then...
Absolutely should have just gone back to Tokyo from Mount Fuji and then figured it out from there. But I was like, oh, we'll do Tokyo to Fuji to Osaka. Fuji's on the way. It's not. It is not built like that. It's out of the way and kind of just comes from Tokyo. And it was a really bad idea on our part. So it took a whole day of traveling that should have taken just nothing, but whatever.
I'm surprised. You said you had friends over there. I thought you would have run it through them and they would have like told you the tricks and the tips.
They were pretty good. I guess they just didn't know, or I didn't bring that part to them because I was like, okay, Tokyo, Osaka, we'll do this on the way, blah, blah, blah. But they gave us a lot of cool, interesting tips and tricks and figuring things out. Like they taught me how to use the train ticket system there. And by God, does it make a lot of sense? And I wish we had it in America, but we really don't. It's the easiest, most convenient thing ever, but we don't. Yeah. A cool thing that I did when I first got there, and we can move on. I didn't want to dominate the episode, but
No, it's all good.
So another downside to Tokyo that I would love to change, or Japan as a whole, if we're saying like things that I wish were different, they don't understand how thirsty Americans get. They really just don't serve water in any capacity in Japan. So when you go to most restaurants, they will have a pitcher of water on the table with the tiniest glasses known to man. They are like shot glasses. And you're just expected to pour your own water. And I, at a meal, would easily drink like 8 of those. I even took a photo. I was so happy. I took a photo of the first time we got served a real glass of water at a Japanese restaurant. And it was like 6 days into our trip. Like, it just doesn't happen. So that's
when you say you expected them to like, or what did you say something about expecting them to serve you drinks of water? You mean like the actual like jug full of water, right? Like they don't replenish it? Is that what you mean?
So what I'm saying is they give you a jug of water on your table and then the tiniest cups known to man to drink from it. But the thing is, a lot of other countries drink a lot more than Japan. You can watch YouTube videos on this where Japan notoriously they just don't drink water in general, and I think it's a cultural thing because people there drink sports drinks like fucking crazy. Aquarius and Pocari Sweat, you will see people drinking those two drinks everywhere. They are fucking everywhere.
Pocari Sweat?
Yeah, it's called Pocari Sweat. Isn't that a fun name for a drink?
That is cool.
But they're everywhere. But then you go to restaurants and you watch people eat at the restaurant and they have nothing to drink. They just get their food. They don't drink anything with it. Now, when you order a specific drink, like tea or whatever, they will bring you a regular serving of it, but water is typically given to you in these tiny, tiny, tiny fucking cups of water. And what will happen is if they let you self-serve, it's no big deal. Okay, I'll drink 8 of these, I'm done. But it's a nightmare when you go to a restaurant that doesn't self-serve water. So you constantly have to ask for water. And normally that's not even a big deal. But in Japan, a big culture shock for a lot of people that we were told early is you call waiters. It seems so fucking rude, but waiters don't come to your table in Japan at all, ever. You have to yell for them. So you're constantly yelling like in Japanese, excuse me, and that gets them to come over. And then you say like, could I have more water? Whereas in America, that's kind of rude. You just have to wait for the waiter to come over. So the problem comes when they don't let you self-serve water and you're given the tiniest fucking water on the planet. And 9 times during your meal, you're like, excuse me, can I get more water? Excuse me, can I get more water? Excuse me. And it's just never ending. I bought a shitload of tea at restaurants because I just wanted more to drink. I just was tired of asking for more water. I felt bad.
That sounds like the airplane experience.
Yeah, it does. It does. They're probably thinking this strange giant American man drinks so much water. You're probably even more mythical than you were just by appearance alone.
Well, the coolest part of all that was when we went to that first sushi restaurant, it was literally my first like hour in the country. And my friend was like, okay, so in Japan, they have self-serve water. Like we have these cups at our table and sometimes there's a pitcher, but at this restaurant, there's this machine and you walk up and you push it, like a soda machine, except it's only for water. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, fine. So I thought it was like an American soda machine or a Western soda machine where you put the cup under, you push the button, you hold it till you're done, and then you walk away. That's not how it works in Japan. In Japan, you push the button and it dispenses a single serving of water and ice. So what I ended up doing is holding the button down and I dispensed like 3 servings of water into a 1-serving cup and just spilled it all over the fucking floor right in front of the woman who worked there. I felt so
cute. I bet she thought you were just a really cool tourist.
She looked at me like she obviously knew I had no fucking idea what I was doing, and I just kept apologizing. But she was just like, whatever, it's fine. But I just felt like a fucking idiot. It was the very first thing I did when I got to Japan.
She started screaming, "Can I help you?" in your face.
Did you go to?
She screamed, "I love you."
Did you go to the arcades? Any arcades?
I did. I went to a place called Round One, and it's a very popular chain of arcades around Japan. It's open 24 hours. The one that we went to was on the ocean or the dock or some water source. And it has you might have seen it in the news. It has the giant life-size Gundam statue outside that they built.
I do remember seeing that in the news.
Cool, yes, but there's just a gigantic fucking real life Gundam outside, and then you go in and you buy a wristband, like any fucking 24-hour arcade or like Dave and Buster's, what the fuck ever. You get a wristband and you go in, and the interesting thing about these places is they are catering to the people who live in Tokyo, because they're not just arcades, they're also sports complexes. So you buy arcade game access, but it also gives you a basketball court, table tennis tables, a badminton cage, a tennis cage, like a batting cage, soccer field, like all that sports shit. And it's for people who live in Tokyo, and because space is so limited, that's just the place you go to play these sports. That's just where you can do it. And it led to a really cool experience. They're very, very trusting of clientele in Tokyo. There's a lot of honor system. There's a lot of like, yeah, there's no security. Just do it as you like. And again, could never fucking happen in America in 1,000 years.
Nope.
So this place left the roof open. They literally said, yeah, the whole building's yours. Go nuts. You know, as long as you're within the bounds of the wristband area. So if you go to the roof, it's just open, and they play music up there, and on top of the roof is a tennis court and a soccer field, or a like practice kicking thing, the goal, you know what I mean, like a half court. And I played fucking tennis with my friend on the roof of a building at 2 a.m. in Tokyo, and it just, that was one of the experiences that really hit me. Like, you could never ever do this in America. They would never let you on the roof, never let you here unsupervised. Just never give you this like free reign. It was amazing.
God, isn't that? It just sounds like actual paradise, man.
It
There's so many
really
things
is.
that can't happen in America just because the people here are so fucking reckless and stupid.
The first thing that hit me when we got back to America, the very first thing is how loud it is here. People in Japan are mostly quiet. People are quiet. They keep to themselves. The trains are almost dead silent most of the time. And it's great. It really is peaceful. It's as crowded and bustling as it is. It's a relaxing place to be. I never felt stressed. I never felt pushed. But then when we get back to America, people are yelling at each other. They're loud. There's just noise and cacophony, and it's just crazy. Something they do in Japan that's fucking genius that we don't do here. It's so goddamn smart, and we don't do it here. In Japan, if you take an escalator, you stand on the left side. Every time. Every single time. Unless you're in Osaka where it's the right for some reason, but that's just like an oddity. I don't know why it's like that.
Regional
but in
thing.
Japan, you stand on the left, and the whole point is people on the right side of the escalator are the ones who are running up it. So if they're late, if they're trying to catch a train, if they're in a hurry, you're out of the way. So people can choose whether they want to stand or walk up the escalator. And people do it. Like, everyone does it. No one doesn't do it in Japan. Meanwhile, we get back to O'Hare Airport. We use escalators. Stand wherever you want. Block people's way. Doesn't matter. Fuck them. Just do whatever you want. It's a whole cultural thing they have that we haven't even thought of, and it's fucking genius.
It's that. I mean, that's the thing that happens over here as well. Like the standing on the left to let people, run up the escalators or travel at their own distance. That's super. It just sounds like you've discovered manners. Basically, manners aren't a thing in America.
That's not a
you've
thing.
just
They don't
discovered it for the
exist
first
here.
time.
That's not a thing here, man.
It's actually crazy.
I think Kai and Charlie can attest. The escalator thing is not even remotely a thing here.
No. People do shit out of spite, so if that was a thing here, you would never have it catch on because people would legitimately go out of their way to ensure that it's
Just stand in the
inconvenient,
way.
and
Yep.
they would, they'd get in your way.
Yep. And people in Japan accept it. Like they accept that things are crowded and organized. So we were on an escalator in a shopping mall, and in front of us were 3 schoolgirls, and they were just gossiping and talking what the fuck ever. And one of them was kind of on the left side. She was like 3/4 of the way on the left side, or this was probably Osaka if I'm remembering the left. Pretty sure it was Osaka. So regardless, she was hanging into the walking side of the escalator. And this other woman, businesswoman, blasts up the side of the escalator and bumps right the fuck into her. Like fucking obliterates her. And they just move on like nothing happened. And I'm pretty sure it's because culturally they understood what happened. She was in the way of the walking path of the escalator. The woman in a hurry didn't apologize. The other girl wasn't even offended. She was just like, oh, whoops. Whereas if that happened in America, there would have been a fight. They would have been screaming at each other. Something would have happened. Because that's just how it is, People would have lost their shit.
No, I agree with both of you. Like, Jackson has a point that is kind of endearing whenever you hear an American discover manners and like civilized behavior. And you guys like go abroad and you're like, wait, I'm on a bus and there isn't like trashy people listening to loud videos on their phones or yelling at each other? Huh. This is possible? Like, I go to the grocery store and the toothpaste isn't locked behind plexiglass? What do you mean everybody here just buys a ticket?
Yep.
and they follow the rules.
It is rose-colored glasses,
Yeah.
though. It's amazing for a vacation, but I can see how it's a hindrance when you live there.
I can't, because you're making it. You're doing a hard sell on me right now. That sounds
and
amazing.
I agree. But I'll give you an example. So when you're on the trains in Tokyo, no matter what time it is, 99.9% of people are on their phone. Everyone is on their phone. Gacha games are huge there. Match 3 games are huge there. They're listening to music. They're doing what the fuck ever. And on the outset, that's perfect. And I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Oh my God, there's no one harassing other people. There's no fucking terrible homeless piss. There's none of that shit. But I talked to my friend who lives in Tokyo, and he said what that eventually leads to when you live there is a profound loneliness. Because it also means that you don't get what you get in a lot in America is people are not friendly. They never talk to you. They never ask how you're doing. They never start random conversations. There's no sense of like socializing with strangers in Japan whatsoever, at least in Tokyo. You just don't. It's like rude and awkward to talk to strangers. Whereas in America, people all the time are like, hey, how's your day going? How's this and that? Maybe someone will compliment your outfit. Maybe people will like extend a helping hand, et cetera, et cetera. That just doesn't happen there. And he said that there
I'd still prefer the non-piss trains and like
right.
Getting,
it's a pro and con. It's a pro and con. And he said that the way that locals describe it is there's like a Tokyo loneliness, and it's described as I'm surrounded by more people than I've ever seen in my life, and yet I haven't spoken to a single one of them.
It's the same thing here, though. Like, how often do you in public? Yeah. How often do you in public, at like a crowded place, just start talking to a random person? Like maybe like 1 or 2 words, but that's not really like a connection or anything.
All the time.
I agree.
All the time. I'll give you a great example. When you go to a convenience store, do you say, hey man, how's it going?
Not really, unless someone says hi to me like a greeter, and in which case they're paid to, and I say like, hey, I'm good, how are you?
Do they say, did you find everything okay? How's your day going?
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that in Japan.
That's fine though. I don't need that. It doesn't
need that.
Like, it's not like that
doesn't make me feel less lonely.
Imagine that's your entire life. You never have anything except that. It's only ever hello, and then do what you need to do. Thank you, and that's it for your whole life.
But wait, I'm not like one greeter, message away from feeling lonely. Like I have friends and family that make me feel less lonely.
But how did you make those friends?
Not from being greeted at a store.
But I'm talking about everywhere. Imagine if the friendships with your coworkers are purely just facades to keep the company happy. Imagine if your schoolmates never ever talk to you again after you graduate school. Imagine if your whole life is you go out, go to your job, go home, and just don't talk to anyone.
Yeah, but I imagine like that district where it has all like the metal and stuff. I imagine you guys go to a common area, so you probably talk to each other.
Right.
Like I imagine there's definitely places for it, like it is here.
Again, this is a nuanced cultural thing that we're never ever going to really dive into, not living there.
That's so true.
But it's the idea of in Japan, you have a lot of people in your life, but you never establish like a good connection with them. It's all just surface level. It's all just like hollow. You know what I mean? It's never deep relationships.
It's crazy to me because what you're saying doesn't make like a bunch of sense to me, but I know you're right because we see it in like the statistics that come out about how lonely Japanese people are and how they're not.
They have hikikomori, which is the entire shut-in epidemic, which is just people giving up on society entirely over there. You know, they have all the problems of that loneliness and lack of socialization that we read about, and it's hard to just describe why it happens secondhand, but when you go there, you can see it. You can totally see when you're on a subway in Tokyo and each and every person on it is just looking at their phone, staring down and trying their best, literally trying to avoid eye contact with other people. I would look around because I was like, wow, look, Tokyo, look out the window, look at the advertisement, look at this, look at that. No one would be looking around at all. They would be buried in their phone. And it was part of the culture of just like, don't look at people, leave them alone. You know what I mean? And I can imagine living there.
And to that specific example, that happens here too, though. If you're in a shared space with people, people are usually just on their phone.
Yeah, I think it's a city thing. I think it's a city thing, and just Japan is mostly city. in a lot of
and that is a true point as well, but I think there's a friendliness and a sociability to American culture they don't have, where people are willing to talk to strangers here far more than they are over there. You know, even if it's as simple as, oh, I like your hair. You know, even small shit like that just doesn't happen as often over there.
Oh yeah, the little stuff adds up. Here, I also prefer the southern areas because of just, you get those folksy cashiers and stuff who just, hey darling, how's your day?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all that little stuff adds up as opposed to just a cold shoulder, frowny face.
Exactly. Think in your life if you've ever had a trip or an experience where you had a cool waiter or a super cool like person working at a desk, or you just met someone throughout your life who was really friendly and helpful and asked about your day, and you go, wow, they made that experience a lot better. Think about a doctor's office where they're really, really good at talking to you and comforting you and all that shit. And there, it's just not nearly as likely. It's just not as much of a thing. It's kind of just get in, get your shit, and get out, you know?
That's very interesting, considering they're, like, super, like, tight on good manners and everything. You'd think that, like, being friendly and welcoming would be also part of that, but I guess not.
It is, but it's forced. And we saw it ourselves in certain places. There were places we went where we would, like, at hotels, talk to the help, and you could really tell when they were being genuinely helpful and nice and when they were just doing it because it was required. You know, like, oh, you have to say thank you for coming in and bow. Like, that's part of your shtick. You could feel it. It was a different thing, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It's hard to describe without going. It's not going to translate to words. It's just a feeling you get.
Mm-hmm. It sounds nice.
Oh, it was great.
It sounds lovely to visit.
You know, all those complaints aside, it was absolutely well worth it. I'd recommend it to anyone, especially now while it's cheap as fuck. It's an incredible place with incredible things to do.
I hope at some point they can move Japan a little closer to Florida so it's more reasonable for me to fly there.
Yeah, a nice little swim. Take a lap in the pool. Wind up in Japan.
All right, what else have we got on the docket for this week other than Japan?
That was my topic.
What would you like, Jackson?
Yeah, well, someone actually brought it up in chat. Stellar Blade, that game came out, and I heard, like, in the first day, I heard about how good the game was and everything, and then just the rest of the weeks past that, it's just all been about how they removed a sexy outfit from the video game or censored an outfit from the video game, and I'm getting so fucking sick of this shit. Like, people are creating like these incredibly intricate video games that take tons of hours of work, and then just the conversation just boils down to like titties or some fucking dumb culture war bullshit.
It's actually
it's so insufferable. It's always the same conversations that are happening as well. It's like, is this really the most interesting thing we could be talking about? They slightly censored I think it was like her rabbit girl outfit, like slightly less cleavage, even though there's like 100 other outfits in the game where like her tits are basically completely out. Like, what's the big deal? Do you know about it, Charlie?
Censorship, Jackson. It's censorship. That's the big deal. They put that thing of lace there when they said it wasn't going to be censored. Thus, wokeism.
Why did they censor it though in the first place?
I'm
a bit confused on that aspect, since like there is so much like there's other costumes in the game that show more. So, but that's what I mean. It might be like creator intent. Like they wanted to like. There was some other intent behind the decision other than actual censorship then.
Yep, couldn't tell you. Considering like that outfit is not nearly the most revealing or anything, and it's just like a tiny thing of lace. Yeah, so I have no idea. It is super stupid to do that. Doesn't really make much sense.
The entire situation is stupid, first of all. Just everything about this conversation is just fucking phenomenally stupid. Also, it's funny to me because like that crowd was latching onto this game in the weeks before, being like, this is what we want from video games.
It's finally a game for gamers by gamers. I get my tit, I get my ass, and I'm having a blast.
And then the game releases, and the very next day, I see them boycotting it for some reason. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right.
There's also a petition. It's got like 50K signatures or something, and people are submitting videos for free Stellar Blade, and they're like, "This was the game that was supposed to fight back against the woke mind virus, and now the breasts aren't as revealed as they were supposed to be.
Oh my lord!
Taking away our freedoms."
Was it like false advertising?
No, it wasn't false advertising.
Because it's like I think it's 2, maybe 3 costumes or something where they added like a little lace or extended the skirt length a little bit, and they're not even the most revealing costumes. Just like a couple random ones, and people lost their fucking mind about how it was censored for that. Which I guess it is censorship if it was Sony that stepped in and did it. But it's also like the least big deal ever because it's not like they took out the revealing costumes. Like she still has a full-blown bikini one that saw no changes at all. So it's just like a big non-issue. It's also fucking fake sounding. People just wanting to be mad about something.
Yeah.
There's a change.org and everything.
Yeah.
It's almost met its goal.
People are passionate about it.
Yeah, look at the videos that people are submitting for it. It comes from the people that look exactly how you'd expect someone to be melting down about not getting enough titty in their game.
You can download porn games, folks. They're out there.
I know.
You can download
But this
them.
you don't get it, Andrew. This was supposed to be the beacon of freedom. Freedom.
It's about
This
the
was the
message.
game. This was the game.
Ah!
We were fighting back.
Ah!
So do you guys...
I'm reading this. The cunt.
The cunt?
Whoa, Kyle, what?
What? Wait,
No.
what are you reading?
I was about to read. It says, I was reading the change.org. It says, the content has been censored from the original trailer version posted by Sony. We, as gamers, want this content back. We relied on it. We made
Literally
the
the
game the
meme.
#1 pre-order worldwide. Really? Because of it, and this is the true game we want. Stellar Blade is more than a game. It has become a cultural beacon for freedom.
Fucking Christ, bro. I say this all the time, but porn addiction is a serious issue. We're seeing it firsthand. If you're actually writing stuff about that and you're making this like the entire premise behind why people were so fervent about this game in the first place was because boobies. It's very obvious like how actually Kuma brained you
Out
are.
of spite. It's just out of spite. Everything is getting censored. And that is a thing.
No, I
you have
agree.
companies like Sweet Baby Inc. going around, and the entire reason they exist is to remove pretty things from video games, from movies, just make everything uglier so it looks more like me, the women that work there. That's it.
Mhm.
But to rally around this game and just make it this is our #1 game worldwide and it's a beacon of free speech. It's a video game. Of course,
I
they're
agree.
going to censor it.
I agree with you, but I think there's like a middle ground here between both like making everything ugly all the time and also being this Kuma brain where it actually matters that much to you as well. Like there's some kind of middle
right. There
ground
should be a healthy middle ground between like all women in all games must look ugly, like acid-faced 3 out of 10 ugly bitches with fat, frumpy asses, and the loincloth on my chick is just too wide. You censored this, you fucking 1984 Nazis. It's like,
How am
no.
I meant to come now? They were edging for months before this game, and this ruined their nut. Like that's what it comes down to.
What's crazy is it shouldn't have even ruined their nut. It's like I said, it's only a couple of
know.
costumes, and they still have like almost like a full nudity one
limitless
in
amount.
there.
I mean, yeah, you can go. Doesn't it make the game harder or something? Like you have less shields or
Yeah,
something.
you can
if
take
go
your
completely
you can
naked?
take your clothes off to play with no shields. And like they didn't change that.
I played for like 10 minutes.
It's still about a hot
Yeah.
woman
It was
doing
hot.
hot things.
Yeah.
It's not like they completely put her in a burqa or something. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's over the top. Like I felt bad playing it in front of my girlfriend because she was just like watching me like play as a woman with like enormous jiggle physics and stuff. Like I felt bad. I had to stop after like 30 minutes because I was like, this is weird.
I felt the same way playing Bayonetta 2 when my girlfriend walked in. I was like, I swear the combat's super good. It's a great game.
Yeah.
I played for the story.
I'd always feel less weird just playing a porn game in front of her because then, at least the intent is obvious. But if she's like, "Why are you playing that?" I'm like, "Well, you don't understand. The story's really good. It's not, by the way. The story in that game is dog shit." But yeah, it was the jiggle
I also
physics.
hate this thing when they like associate porn with freedom, or they act as if porn is the last beacon of freedom left. It's like, oh, if like one state makes it marginally more difficult to access Pornhub, that's an attack on the First Amendment.
Yeah.
And it's always the kind of
man.
people screaming about it who otherwise never in a million years would give a shit about any amount of like rights or freedoms. But when it's their porn game,
Yes.
they care. I would like
porn
this
in general.
petition, not the petition, but I would like this if it was a movement against false advertisements. Because if Sony showed you a bunch of trailers and then they changed it literally a day after selling it to you, yeah, that shouldn't happen.
But it's not though. It's just a couple of It's just a couple of costumes. It's
Yeah,
not
games
even like a
update all the
false
time.
advertisement. Yeah, it's really not a false advertisement though. It is literally only a couple of costumes in the game. Everything else is still exactly the same.
It is an incredibly minor change, Kaya, from what I've seen.
Yeah, super,
so minor.
super trivial.
Well, I mean, by the way,
But I mean, I am all for sticking it to corporations like Sony and stuff anyway, like regardless.
Oh
So
yeah, I
that's
don't really
fine.
care at the end of the day. If you want to boycott it, fuck Sony. It's totally fine.
who do I even root for? I hate
I know.
everyone. That
Same.
fucking sucks. Like, you're cringe, your enemies are cringe, Sony sucks. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, I agree. It is the most fucking baffling situation, and I'm finding myself like noticing that like so often now, where it's just like, who do I even relate to? Because both sides of this situation are just so fucking brain deadly stupid, just so astronomically weird. Both, not to both sides it or whatever, but it is just like really stupid.
God, I love the videos though. I was watching a couple of them. They're so good. It's like people looking like their whole life has collapsed around them as they're talking about like the lace on her titties. It's so fucking amazing.
I can't imagine caring that much. How could you care that much and not realize how like pathetic you are being? You know what I mean? Like you're putting that much energy.
Why would you voluntarily upload these videos?
I know.
I'm looking at them now, and all the guys kind of look the same. It's kind of difficult to describe because they're all from various backgrounds and various shades of skin and everything, and yet somehow they still all look the same.
Well, like neckbeards.
That I'm looking at here on the change.org. No, not even neckbeards, like glass dork, I guess. Just glasses. I don't know, caring about this game somehow. Maybe it affects your facial structure. I'm not sure.
It's a
It's
physical
a form
attack.
of mild radiation. Yeah.
They become like a ghoul from Fallout if they play too much of it.
As the weeks go by, their hair falls out, their eyes hollow. It's about the titties.
Try and
They become
censor this
feral.
one, woke libs.
I warned you about it, but now it's too late. Like a fucking crypt keeper.
Yeah, it's fun though. I do enjoy it to some degree. Watching all these meltdowns and stuff over something that just does not matter.
It is pretty cool.
No, yeah, especially when they just overshoot it all and turn it into you're not a freedom fighter.
No, you're
You're
not.
like
You
under
just want
siege
to.
from an enemy government. You wanted a game, and they snubbed the cute butt out of the game, and
No,
little
they
up
didn't. They
butthurt
put
about it.
literally a very tiny piece of lace on the butt. Well, it was on the
that's
titty, but
1% less
Or
butt.
that.
That's fucking inexcusable.
it's 1984.
Oh.
Can we not make this the battleground of freedom though? It's so pathetic. Like this is where we
I
lay
know
our
it is
claim.
so annoying.
Give me titties or give me death.
It's the most important issue facing our generation, Jackson. If you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you.
Is that what all the protests at the universities are about? It's about
That's what World War II was
Stellar
about.
Blade
Blade, yeah.
titties. Yeah, that's what they're actually about. No. Anyway, game's fine. It's like mid. Yeah, it's fine.
I actually
Yeah.
liked it. It's pretty
Titties.
good. It's pretty good.
Combat's pretty good. Yeah,
The
everything else
combat's
is
very
pretty
good. It's just the story is absolute dog shit. Like legitimately fucking horrid trash dog shit story.
From what I got from it, it was like basically a lesser version of Nier Automata, like just aping it entirely, but like not with any of the same level of substance that Nier Automata had. All right, you guys got anything else, or do you want to wrap?
I'm all good.
I'm good.
You're all good.
We can wrap.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you enjoyed your trip to Japan, Andrew.
I did.
I'm very
It was
glad.
amazing. Thank you.
Thank you for telling us all about it. We're glad you're back. And we're glad you guys are listening. Thank you for listening. Patreon.com/theofficialpodcast. YouTube listeners, I think, also have access to like membership now as well. So you get early access there. I don't know if it's up yet on the channel, but it will be eventually. So you'll be able to get like early access to videos and stuff like that. If you feel like becoming a member of the channel, that could be a possibility. You can look into that. Other than that, patreon.com/theofficialpodcast, which is where we've historically always uploaded early access to content as well as bonus shows. Criminally Stupid is up there right now and should be out publicly on the channel within like a week or two. We want to give patrons a bit of exclusivity there. But the newest episode about Austin Jones is up there. People really enjoyed it, so that's cool. Go check it out. Other than that, that's it for this week. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.